Hi everyone, I'm your host Neha and you're tuned into Durian Dreaming, the show that brings you extraordinary stories from seemingly ordinary experiences in Indonesia's fast-paced market. Let's dive into today's conversation with another inspiring guest. Hi everyone, welcome to the new episode of Durian Dreaming. Today we have a very exciting guest with us. He's from the VC world, Rexi Christopher. And because he's from the VC world, he's at the intersection of money and belief. So, supporting founders in Indonesia who are changing how Indonesians live, shop, and work. As a venture partner and in its six, Rexi has seen enough pitch decks. And some of the big names that's backed by in its six is Torch and Imagine. And he knows what separates hype from real business. So today we'll unpack how VCs really think and what it actually takes to build a thriving business in Indonesia. So please welcome our guest, Rexi Christopher, on the new episode of Durian Dreaming. Hi, Rexi. Welcome to our podcast, Durian Dreaming.
Hi, Neha. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, Rexi. So, Rexi, Init6 has become one of Indonesia's most active early stage investor, backing some of the country's most promising startups. So take us back. How did Init6 start?
So basically, the six was built by Ahmad Zaki and Nugroho. So basically, both of them were co-founders of Bukalapak. Well, after Bukalapak went IPO, they stepped down, but they still have a spirit to help new generation founders to build a company that hopefully can be big as well, that hopefully it can be a fundamental or a driver for Indonesia.
Okay. Rexi, you moved from a consulting firm into the venture world. How did your journey begin?
So basically, I started my career as a consulting at Deloitte. And after that, yeah, I continue my master degree in France to study finance. And yeah, during my study, I learned uh, what's next, right? And then, yeah, I'm falling in love with venture capital work because I feel that it's interesting. It's an interesting journey because you can support like founders from zero, that you can see how their journey to building a small company and a big company, right? So that's why after my master degree, I decided to chase my career in venture capital world.
Right. Rexi, last 2 years have been a very choppy or turbulent years. And people
Yeah.
have become more disciplined about investing, which industry to invest, how much to invest. And so has the evaluation process become very much more disciplined. So, what has fundamentally changed in how you evaluate startups today versus, say, 2021?
So I think it's so much different because back then, I think in 2020, 2021, I think we were in the position of, we can say like a zero interest, right? Where uh, investor, it's easy to pouring money anywhere. That's why during the 2020, 2021, we saw a startup boom, right? A lot of startup uh, got funded by like a big investors, right? Really big valuation, big round. But now I think the ecosystem is already changed, right? The situation is changed, right? Where we see, I think now investor is more reasonable in terms of their investment strategy. So that's why I think now I think an investor uh, back to fundamental, where they see fundamental of the business is really matter. Back then, I think in 2020, 2021, a lot of founders tell their story, right? But nowadays, I think story is not enough. You need to give investor proof as well in terms of your product or solution in the market. Yeah.
Right. And how do you personally decide, when to invest or when to just pass on that opportunity or wait?
I think it's really long process, I think, because uh, when we decided to invest, it's kind of like a marriage, right?
Hmm.
So first, yeah, we need to know about the founders, like a dating, right? So we hear what they build, what their vision. After that, yeah, we also assess their experience. We see the product as well, and after that, yeah, we see the market opportunity outside, right? If based on our assessment, the market opportunity and the product match, I
Hmm.
think it's easy to decide whether to invest or not.
Right. So, as an investor, you would have seen a lot of companies approaching, presenting their plans for investment, right? To get
Yeah.
support from Init 6. And there would have been companies which you would have passed on, and that later would have become huge. So, can you tell me any company which had approached Init 6 and then was passed on? Init 6 did not invest in it and then became huge, and you regret.
There is a one company in the US founded by Indonesian founders. So they built like or they are focusing on an AI space, like an AI infrastructure. Back
Mm,
then, when they came to us, I think it's like a pre-seed stage, and they
mm,
want to raise, I think, above 10 million, and the valuation I think is really high for us. I think because mostly our investment history in Indonesia, right? When we see like a pre-seed opportunity with valuation is more than 20, 30 million for the first round, I think it's too
mm.
expensive for us, right? So we decided to pass because yeah, we cannot justify the valuation because back then still there is no product, still just like a pilot product, MVP, right? No client, so it's hard for us to justify the valuation back then. But after we pass, I think after a year, I think after a year, now they are become a unicorn in the US.
Okay. And which company is this?
I cannot say the company, but it's a company built by Indonesian founders in the US.
Okay. They say that at an early stage, you invest more on the team and people. So you're betting on people and
Yes.
the team versus just the numbers or the spreadsheets that's presented. So what signals make you trust a founder within the first 30 minutes?
Yeah. So it's true because our focus in early stage, right? Basically, when we invest in early stage company, we basically invest in people or in the founders, right? Because we cannot invest the product because we know the product will evolve along the way. Maybe the founders will
Hmm.
pivot or see challenges or maybe change direction, right? But
Hmm.
if we find the right founders, I think, yeah, they can face every challenges along the road, right? That's why we focus on the founders, right? So what's makes different good founders and yeah, another founders, I can say. So basically, first, we'll check on their experience.
Hmm.
Usually, previous experience is matter because usually they see the problem based on their experience before, right?
Hmm.
And after that, yeah, they want to make a change or solution based on the problem that they saw, right? And that's why I think yeah, first is their experience, and the second is what is I can say is the most important is their execution skill. because we basically I met a lot of good founders, but I feel that the founder is just a storytelling.
Okay.
So it's really good and storytelling, but for the execution, still question mark, right? Because for some investor, I think they believe in the story, right? But
Mm.
for me, I think based on my experience, I think execution is matter. So during the process of talking with the founders, usually they come to me with progress of their development. It
Mm.
show that the founders always progressing with their product or solution, right? If uh, during the assessment we see like a good progress in their development, because usually when we assess the investment from knowing the founders until decided is around 2 or 3 months, right? Usually 1 month just discussing with the founders, and every time we met the founders and they can show us the progress, it's a green flag for us so to decide whether to invest or not. So basically, just two criteria: the previous experience
Mm.
and the execution skill.
Okay. And what makes a pitch deck actually work?
Basically, the simple pitch deck, simple pitch. Because
Okay.
usually investor, even though we have like an hour or half an hour time for pitching, usually the investor focus is only like 5 or 10 minutes for the first 5 or 10 minutes, right?
Mm.
So as long as the founder can catch investor eye within 5 or 10 minutes, I think it's
Mm.
a good pitch.
Okay. I know you touched upon and you said that for you, execution matters more than the storytelling part. And you focus on the execution of it, right?
Yeah.
Now, when the two startups with similar metrics or similar numbers can get very different outcomes, right? So, how important is storytelling in fundraising?
For fundraising, of course, storytelling is really matters because yeah, most of the investor basically invest for the future, right?
Hmm.
And the future can reflect from the story of the founders, right? Because
Hmm.
it's not happened yet, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, storytelling is important, but I think it's better if storytelling can be or combined with the execution, right? Like I said, right? Every investor, when talking to founders, usually during the approach, it usually takes like a 1 or 2 months, right? Before like a deep DD. So if during the process, uh, the founder can tell the story and match the story with the reality because of their good execution, I think it's good.
Okay. Startup governance has really shaken up the investors' confidence. So,
Yeah,
what are the new red flags which makes the investors hesitant?
yeah, it's so unfortunate because yeah, I believe yeah, most of you guys when hear like startups, especially in Indonesia, I think it's really bad now on the situation, right? Because
Mm.
of the fraud and everything. And that's why I think governance now, I think it's important. So I think most of the investors now ask their portfolio or the potential investee to be like to be more transparent,
Okay.
right? And I think the DD process now I think is more rigid compared to 5 years ago,
Okay.
and that's makes different. But I think it's a good thing because if we want this ecosystem big, yeah, we need to have like a really solid uh, corporate governance.
Okay. And which sectors are still very hot in Indonesia or Southeast Asia to invest in?
For Indonesia, I believe consumer is still big because if you see the data, I think yeah, like a consumer sector is always growing, and yeah, I think it's a good thing to be invested in consumer sector. The others, I think, yeah, like education, healthcare is also interesting as well. And for the other sector like a tech, I think yeah, still wait and see, right? Because we are in the, I think, in the new wave, right? In the
Hmm.
AI wave, right? I think yeah, for investor, I think now it's also wait and see with the new wave.
Okay. And which sectors do you think are overhyped?
I think yeah, because the wave now is AI, right? I
Hmm.
think yeah, because yeah, people realize AI now is a new themes and the priority for the investor, right? And I think yeah, because of that, yeah, I believe AI is also overhyped because we are in the new wave, right? That's why it's very difficult to find like whether which one is a good AI company or just using a buzzword.
I know you said that AI is a sector which is wait and watch right now, and investors are very cautious in investing in those sectors. Indonesia is one of the most dynamic digital economies globally.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what unique edge do Indonesian founders have today?
Mm, I think what's unique in Indonesia, I think Indonesian market cannot be generalized to others market, right? Indonesia is a bit complicated, right? That's why if we see a lot of like a global player trying to come to Indonesia market, not every of them success, right? And that's why I think yeah, Indonesian market is tricky. But yeah, for founders, especially founders that based in Indonesia, know Indonesian better, I think they have an edge to to localize their solution to match with what market needs.
Okay. So, so when these companies and or the Indonesian founders are focusing on growth because of the size of the economy, and but on the other side, there's also profitability.
Yeah,
So, how do you evaluate growth versus profitability today?
yeah. I think it's different compared to 5 years ago, right? Back then, everyone chasing growth over everything, right? But now, like I said, fundamental is more important. That's why profitability is it's a king now, and that's why I think yeah, for our founders, I think they need to have an ability to balance between growth and profitability. So yeah, I think the founders need to have like a switch or know the momentum, right? When they need to uh, chase growth, but with a healthy profitability. Because now I think yeah, cash flow it's really matter now, right? Because maybe you can see the fundraising is not as easy as like 5 years ago, right? That's why I think founders need to preserve cash as well. That's why they need to balance growth and profitability.
Okay. As a VC, it is more clearer to you that what is that VC looking in a startup and when to chase growth and when to chase profitability. Because most founders don't really fully understand what VCs understand, VCs think, and how they operate. So, my question is, what are the biggest misconceptions about raising capital?
I think the biggest misconception about fundraising from the founders, I think yeah, many of them using the capital from fundraising just for chasing growth, right? I think for now, I think that concept, I think it's not really applicable because of the fundraising situation is hard now. As an investor, we want to invest the company that we can see decades later, or maybe two decades, 3 decades, and become a legend in the market, right? So if you use your capital from your fundraising just for a 1 year runway and to chase growth, but after that you cannot do fundraising, I think it's nothing. Your effort for fundraising, right? That's why I think yeah, founders need to be smart when they have a capital. They know how to use the capital wisely to chase growth, but with the healthy growth now.
Okay. And when should founders raise capital?
So this is also interesting. Usually founders raise money when they need money, right? But a good momentum for fundraising, basically, you raise money when you don't need money, because usually that's the you are in the good position and you are have an upper hand to to negotiate with the investor, right? Because you are in the good position, good performance. That's the right time to fundraise to accelerate more growth.
Okay. So can you, Rexy, tell me that companies who approached you for raising capital and then they were told that this is not the right time, but maybe you come back after some time or hitting certain milestones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's quite common. I think yeah, from my portfolio, I think uh, some of them like that. So basically, we wait and see to see more progress from the company, and
Mhm.
and we see the progress, we are comfortable with the achievement of the company. We decided to invest. I think yeah, we have couple of investment that like that. For example, like the company that you mentioned, Imagine. I think before we decided to invest, yeah, we already engaged with them like a year before we invest. And
Mm.
we track their development when they uh, show us the good progress on their traction. Yeah, that's the time when we decided to invest.
Okay. Because, some of the best companies are built without early funding.
Yeah.
What's your advice to founders who haven't raised yet?
Who haven't raised yet. So it's interesting because if I if I'm not a VC and I can give like a personal opinion, if you can build your company without funding and you can grow the company really well without funding, I think you should do that
Okay. And why do you say so?
continuously. But usually a good founders know when they do like a bootstrapping, and let's say from the bootstrapping they can grow from 0 to 10, right? But from 10 to 100 is different story, right? They need to have like a support. Usually that's the right time to find an investor
Mm.
who not only pouring money, but who can give a support to achieve like the next level.
Okay. Rexy, you had mentioned earlier that AI is a sector which is wait and watch.
Yeah.
And the VCs are not very bullish about investing in that sector immediately. So, where do you see the real opportunity versus the hype in AI?
So I think here, especially in this region, Southeast Asia, I think investors still wait and see because we see the development of AI is really rapid, right? When everyone builds something, suddenly it's not relevant anymore because the development, like big companies like OpenAI or Anthropic, right? That's why many investors still wait and see, right? But the opportunity here with AI, because the development is really fast, and now it's cheap as well to build like a AI company because we have like a solid infra company like a OpenAI, Anthropic, and yeah, that's make a new wave that people can build a new solution on top of AI. So that's the opportunity that I believe will be the next big thing here. So the founder that can build a solution on top of the current AI layer.
Okay. Many listeners of this podcast, they're either building something or they're thinking about building. So, what's one piece of advice to someone who is starting today?
So for someone starting today, just keep building because I think now is the right timing to build, right? So I can say the the ecosystem now is need more founders that build something, right? To be honest, to you, I think for the past 2 years, the problem in startup ecosystem, especially in Indonesia, I don't see enough supply. That's why if you guys now in building something, it's good because we are as an investor always want to invest in good company, right? And that's why if you guys now start building something, it's a good news for us because meaning the supply is still going on, right? And yeah, I think, and also especially for new founders, I think just make sure when you build something, you need to think about the sustainability of the business as well, right?
Hmm.
That's why I think balance between growth and profitability from day one, I think it's really matter now.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rexi, for a very crisp conversation and very info packed. So, thank you for taking out the time and be with us on this podcast.
Thank you, Neha.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Durian Dreaming. I hope today's discussion sparks some new ideas for you. Don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts, and stay tuned for more exciting stories. Until next time, keep dreaming big.